Warm greetings to one and all present here. Let me introduce about myself. My name is Mr. A. Jasmine Anthony Raj, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. So today we are going to see about the subject data science. Under that data science, so we are going to deal with the topic problems in data content in data science. So here what are the problems with the data content in a data science means? So data is the foundations in a data science. So you know the definitions of a data, it is a collections of a useful informations. So but in a real world data, so often it has many issues which affects the analysis and then model accuracy. So if we are considering a data, so in a real world we can able to have a lot of issues like that may able to affect the analysis and then model accuracy. So next, if you want to see about the next slide heading, so missing data. So here if you want to see about a missing data, so here we cannot able to get an accurate or a meaningful word when some of the values are not recorded or lost. So it may cause a biased result if not handled properly. So unless or until we are taking a care of dealing with the data, some of the data has been lost, so we cannot able to get a proper result. So examples are missing age or an income values in a survey. So survey is a process where we can able to get then accountabilities of how many salary persons are there, what are their incomes, and how many aged people are under that criteria. So if some of the data has been missed in that, so we cannot able to get an accurate result. So next one, incomplete or insufficient data. So here if you get and not enough data to train the models, so it may lead to an poor predictions. So prediction is a message where we can able to get an complete information. So if you have a complete information only, we can able to accurately predict what will be the result. Next one, small data sets for a rare disease. So here if we have some disease in our body, so unless or until we are taking an entire report for a particular disease, we cannot able to find the accurate results of what is the problem we have in our body. Next one, incorrect or inaccurate data. So data entered wrongly or outdated results in a wrong conclusions. So since we are all dealing with the data, so if there is any of the data has been misplaced or wrongly entered or it was an outdated, so we cannot able to get and correct results, which may leads to a wrong conclusions. Examples are wrong temperatures or a sales value. So if you are finding a wrong temperature, it cannot able to give an correct treatment. So or if you are giving an wrong sales values, it may leads to a loss of a particular sales. So next one, noisy data. So noisy data means data contains an random errors or an irrelevant information, makes an analysis difficult. So if you are not containing a random errors, so if the data containing a regularly random errors or an irrelevant information which is not related to a particular informations of a data, so it may leads to a difficult analysis. So it can able to give an examples of a census errors or types. Next one, so we can able to check with the duplicate data. So what is mean by a duplicate data? So duplicate data is nothing but some records appears and multiple times skews and statistical results. So here the instead of giving an correct information, so suppose if we are giving an some of the record maybe an appeared multiple times, instead of getting an fresh one or a fresh data where we can able to have a different set of values. So instead of having a different set of values, so if we are getting an same record appears multiple times, so that also it can able to be give an statistical errors. So examples are repeated customer entries. So if you want to get how many customers are there in our sales target, if you are giving a same set of data, so then it may not make us to get a correct result. Examples are repeated and customer entries. So next one, inconsistent data. So what is meant by an inconsistent data means same data represent in a different formats, create and confusions during analysis. So here if you are giving an same data in a different format, so format alone has been differentiated, but the given data is being same, so it may create an confusions while we are doing an analysis. Examples are date format. So here we can able to follow the date format following standard format for DD, MM, YY, YY. So instead of MM, DD, YY, YY. So if we are having some data of represented different formats, then it may leads to a bias or errors in understanding the data format. Next one, bias data. The data does not represent all group fairly, so it may leads to an unfair or an inaccurate models. So here, if we are not representing an all groups fairly, so we need to give the representations of an representing an all types of groups of data. Suppose if we are not doing an unfair or inaccurate models, it can able to leads to examples, wrong informations, bias. That one is called as a bias. So the example, gender or an spatial bias in racial bias in hiring data. So if you are not having an correct informations, so it may have to create a bias in hiring data. Outdated data. So what does mean by outdated data means? So data is no longer relevant. Results, or it may have results may have some of the difficulties to in and reduces a model effectiveness. So if you don't have any other data further, no longer it cannot able to give an effective information. So examples we can able to consider how world market trends. Next one, unstructured or an poorly structured data. Data not organized in tables or an databases, difficult to process or an analysis. So here, if we want to do the calculations part, most of the calculations parts, if you are performing those and calculations part in a word format of data or an documentations, so it may not be able to be convenient to calculate the results. So it may leads to some of the difficulties in processing and analyzing. For example, social media post, images, video. So finally, we can able to come to the conclusions. Data content problem, reduce the quality and reliability of data science outcomes. So proper data clearing, validations, pre-processing are essential to ensure accurate analysis and trustworthy models. So here we need to reduce the quality and reliability of our data. What is the data we need to give, and what is the data from that data, what is the outcome we can able to reduce, and we can able to have to do a proper data cleaning. So unwanted data should be removed. It should be properly validated, and then pre-processing are essentially to ensure an accurate analysis and a trustworthy models. Thank you one and all for giving me this golden opportunity. Let us meet in another lecture series. Thank you.